Hey guys, Lou here. Not the Louis Van Gaal to be mistaken with, L-E-W, but still, keeping the pride. Today we are not going to be having a $25 budget video. Instead, we're going to be doing something where I'll just go through like what's new with me in terms of gear that I've got, and just talk about a few other things in terms of what I got planned, because the next $25 budget video will be the last one. I just need to work out, where I'm going to go with this instead of doing that. And yeah, just a few other things. So we'll start off by going through, explaining a few things first. So I know I did a Marvel video last week, and I said that like I did the 5 spins, and then people were asking me to do more. The reason why I didn't do more, and I didn't do like a video that had more of them in it, and really trying to get more and more stuff, is just really because I have gained a few other equips that I didn't have previously. So I've traded my 30% luck LGR for a similar one that is 15% all stat. Some people might look at that and go, well, you've got ripped off there. But then there's another thing. I'll go into what I was about to say there, but I just want to cover this as well. I've traded the incorrectly spelled Hades gloves, the warrior gloves, for pirate ones. Again, people might look at it and go, oh, you've been ripped off there because pirates aren't worth as much as warrior is, and you're losing money. I'm not the best haggler in the world, which leads on to my next point. There's 3 equips that I've gained, being the 15% LGR, the pirate gloves, the tyrant gloves, and this new whip. As you remember, the 23rd $25 budget video followed me cubing my other whip with black cubes, trying to get percent attack and boss damage and, well, maybe PDR, but I upset a few people when I didn't go for the double PDR, but I don't think it stacks. So yeah, what I was essentially trying to do was save myself the money because I was going to buy this whip if I didn't get what I was wanting on the other whip. So what I ended up doing was buying this whip for the auto win, because I really don't like haggling with pricing it, because you can come across some people who really like to squeeze everything you can get out of an item and really get all the money they can get. Or if the auto win price is reasonable, just go for that, which is what I did. So this whip, the other whip now resides on Blowfat, my other Xenon that I use to train with me when there's no one else to train with. This whip is better in a number of ways. One, it's got another enhancement on it, but it's also a higher weapon attack, I think by about between 15 and 20, or maybe a little bit more. I'd have to look at it to remember what it was. Plus it's got 12% attack and 50% boss there, and then 15% attack in bonus port, whereas my other whip had 9% crit, 50% boss, or 50 or 60, I think 50, and then 12% boss and no attack. Or maybe, I think it had maybe 12 attack and boss in it. So essentially what I've done is traded boss and gained more percent attack, which is better, because if you look at my overall percent boss, I've got 230 unbuffed, so that's really all I need. And yeah, so it's, people might look at it and say, well, you've lost money there, and it's just like, well, I'm not going to go into how much money I have on this account in terms of meso, but I've got enough to last me a while, so I don't really need to worry about selling anything. I don't really need to worry about, it's always nice to make a profit on an equip, don't get me wrong, but when it comes down to the fine things where, someone has something that you want and you've got something that they want and you just want to do a trade, I just go, okay, I'm not really losing out that much from this. So yeah, what I plan to do with these Tyrant gloves is, I wasn't sure whether I wanted to have them or not, because it was just another thing. I was just like, well, I could just as easily save money and just get dojo gloves instead of that. But then it was pointed out to me that if I were to get some percent all stat like I have on these gloves, I'm looking for that potential transfer item that's in the patch notes, or not patch notes, but in the game data, but actually doesn't exist. I'd love to transfer the 15% all stat over to these gloves and just leave it like that, because that'd be perfect. If you get these gloves to 10 stars and then have a good potential line on them, they are better than well, definitely better than rank 10, and they may or may not be better than rank 1 dojo gloves, so it means that I would never have to worry about getting dojo gloves again, which would be a win, because then I wouldn't have to worry about doing it every week, and then yeah, I could just pretty much have SE all the time if I wanted to do that, or keep my SE gloves separate in order to get more attack. So yeah, that's really where I stand with all of this, where it's just something I decided upon, where I could have either tried to haggle with the person, but honestly warrior gear has gone down in price a little bit since they fixed everything to do with Kaisers, because Kaisers were broken and OP again for a little while, and then everyone was wanting to gear them up, and now they fixed a number of things 1 or 2 patches ago. So I've noticed that, like, for example, all of my other Tyrant capes are selling, my warrior Tyrant cape is not. So therefore, I would say that they're not worth as much. Now that Marvel's gone, yeah, sure, they might be worth a little bit more now, but so would Pirate Gloves. So I'd rather just have mine, all done and dusted, and then leave it. You might be wondering what this is as well, just looking at here. I just had an anvil from Marvel Machine, and I was just like, you know what, why don't we just do that and move them over. So, or anvil, the image. So yeah, they've, as you can see there, they've I didn't mean to point at the camera, but yeah, on the screen they've renamed the Hades glove, so they put a Y in there, so it's good that they did that, because Nexon normally takes a long time to do that. But yeah, so that's really all I've got there in terms of upgrades to gear. So I haven't done anything else. Well, I've put a lot of nebs on, as you can see, like a lot of 3% all-stat nebs, because they were coming out in Marvel and people were fusing them, and they were just coming out. So I figured it was easier to just buy some for 2 bill rather than spending double on another % of all-stat. So yeah, and this leads me on to my next topic of like what I plan to do after $25 budget was done, because for the people that don't know, $25 budget was in one way me upgrading my gear to be able to do the bosses that I wanted to do, and in another way limiting me to spending a small amount of my part-time job paycheck on Maple to gear up my character. In my opinion, it's been a bit of a success with what I've managed to cube. If you go back over the 25 videos, I have gained some pretty good stats. I have, on the other hand, spent more money on other equips. Like well, some people probably know how much I bought that whip for. I'm not going to say it in the video, because out of context, people might look at that and go, well, you're spending that much money on a game, that's outrageous. And I'm just like, well, I could do 10 videos of black cubing for $25 budget and or a different series, and maybe not have the same result. So anyone who wants to work out somewhere in that ballpark figure, it was a little bit more than 10 $25 budget videos, but I'll leave it at that as a sort of a hint. So yeah, that's really where I stand on my gear. As for upgrading more, the only things I want to keep doing are my Tyrants. So I've got about 6 stars to go there, 7 stars to go, and then on my belt 5 stars. So in all, I've got about a few Nobooms I need to get. They are quite expensive at the moment. I'm waiting for them to become cheaper, and then I'll just stockpile the exact amount that I need, or I might just stockpile 15 of them if the enhancement system comes out where we can get them all up to 10 stars without having to use Nobooms. Then that'd be great, because then I'd only need 15 of them. At the moment, since they're like 7 bill, that would be quite a lot. I could cover that in Meso right now with the Meso that I've got stored away, but I would really prefer to just wait and see what happens, since there's no Guardians out at the moment either, so there's no real rush to do it. But yeah, that's really all I plan to do, because I'm not going to say like oh, I'm bored of Maple now, I don't want to start keep spending money, I want to spend it on other things. It's more that there's no motivation to keep on upgrading, because I'm not really competing with anyone. Like, yeah, Steve is great, like I've played on Aatrox a little bit and done bosses that I do on Erasers, and it's so much easier on Aatrox, don't get me wrong, because like at stuff like Magnus, like if I were to die, I wouldn't have to buff up on his character, I could just go over and start hitting cap regardless, whereas on Erasers, it takes a little bit longer and it's a little bit more riskier. So it is fun playing on a character that caps on almost anything. And what Steve has created there is really good, but I would just prefer to see, like, if I got my Tyrants up like that completely, if I could be somewhat in that range or not. I don't know. I'd have to calculate what my range is now after doing all this, all these changes. Like, I will do it when I've got time. But yeah, it's just more, I don't feel like I'm competing with anyone because, while it's nice to see what my friends do and what they can do, I don't really consider them competition in terms of, wanting to be better than them. I'm satisfied with what I'm able to do now, where I can go do, like, if you didn't see, I've brought out a Queen video. I'll put the link up at the end of the video and right now, I guess, since I'm talking about it, so you can go watch that. And I've been able to do Hard Magnus, Chaos Von Bon's easy. I'd like to do Chaos Pierre without glitching it, but there's a way that you can glitch it with another skill, and I just don't like making a video of that because it just doesn't seem right. It seems like I'm cheating. So like I'd love to be able to do Pierre without any assistance and just a complete solo. With the Queen video, I was waiting. Like, I have been able to do Queen for a while now, but I keep getting it's got this annoying skill where it zombies you, and if you heal yourself, you die. So when you've got pet heal on and you get hit by something and you're using Power Elixir, which heals all your health, it kills you automatically. So that happened to be twice in the video, so I didn't really count that as death, because like it wasn't really anything that it did or like a stupid mistake by me. It was just a sort of thing that happened. So yeah, that kept happening to me throughout like the past couple of weeks as I've been recording them, and I was getting really frustrated. And then I did it on, I think, just before reset on Wednesday night, and I died twice, and I was just like, you know what, I went back over and looked at it, and like, those deaths really weren't that bad. It didn't really affect my overall killing time. I'll just make a video of it and put it up because it's something that I said that I was going to come out with when I did the Von Bon video, and it's out now. So yeah, as I was saying, like, I can pretty much do all the bosses that I've been wanting to do, and then there's one or two that I still need to do, like Chaos Vellum. Put me down as a maybe for that one. I am practicing a little bit, but I'm just more into training than doing that boss, since prices aren't really that great. I would love to do a video of it someday, don't get me wrong, but in terms of motivation, there's no real strong motivating factor at the moment. So yeah, that's really where I stand with everything. Don't get me wrong, I'm not wanting to quit or anything. I will keep doing videos. I'm just trying to work out like an interesting, unique way to come out with videos, maybe more like this, where it's just going through different things in Maple with, the camera as well, and then me talking more about like my personal life, and not sort of vlogging every single day, but maybe just like a 1 week thing where I just do like, each like weekend I do like a vlog and I talk about, something that happened in my personal life, for example, something funny that happened yesterday. So I'm at university at the moment, and I'm kind of juggling my assignments alright, but there was this assignment that was extended by 1 day, so like we had the class so we could ask any questions about the assignment, and I submitted it the night before. Like, I'm normally pretty good like that, where I'm prepared and I have them all done, and then there's no last minute rushes or anything like that. But for one of the first few times it's actually happened to me, where I came to the class like a few minutes late, so there was only a few chairs available, and it's on a computer class, so like you're working in Excel spreadsheets, and I sit down at the computer, and I've got a girl on either side of me, and we're right down the back of the room, and we can't really see the board, and like she's talking to me, she's like, oh, can you see what the teacher's writing? I'm like, no, and my eyesight's pretty good, so she was writing in like light green pen on a whiteboard, so you couldn't really see what she was writing, and it was to do with probability and like percentages and things like that. It's school stuff, but she was making it difficult to understand, so I looked over at what the girl who'd spoken to me was doing, and she was typing in a Microsoft Word document, and then kept referring back to the assignment, and the assignment was based in an Excel document. So I kind of thought to myself, I'm like, why are you doing that? And then I looked at the assignment description again, and I scrolled right down to the very last page, because it was 5 pages long, and the last sentence of the assignment said, this must be submitted in a Microsoft Word document with a full report, and then you're working down below, and it could only be like a 10-page document. So I was like, oh. So like, if I had not seen that and submitted my assignment in an Excel document, I probably would have either gained only half the marks for showing my working and nothing else, and not doing the Word document format, or they would have just given me 0 marks and failed me straight away. So yeah, that was a big learning curve. So now I'm going to be a lot more careful in terms of how I read through things, because I tend to just skim read and just go, oh yeah, I know what I have to do, you know, blah blah blah, blah, submit it and get a decent result, but you know, you can always do better. But yeah, so that was something funny that happened to me this week. But yeah, so this leads me to another segment that I'm bringing out again. I'm going to start doing giveaways now that I'm not doing, well, technically not doing $25 budget videos anymore after the next one. So in order to win 10 KNX, answer me this question. What's something that you've, well, put yourself in my sort of situation where you've done something and then realize that you're in the wrong, and it's either like you've actually gone through and made the mistake, or like last second realized that you've made a mistake and made changes and gotten away with it. So like, I'm not sure what the mark I'm going to get for that assignment is, but like I'll refer back to it in a couple of videos when I get my mark back. It normally takes like 3 weeks in terms of business days, so like, you know, 15 days, working days, so in 3 weeks time I'll probably get it back and I'll let you guys know how I went. But yeah, that's really all for today, and yeah, check out the other videos I put out this week, guys, and I'll catch you guys next week. Alright, see you guys later.